All right, folks, good morning. My name is Arthur. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about cyber threat intelligence and sharing. I've said cyber intelligence or cyber threat intelligence. This is my crafted up for my work disclaimer. I work for the Department of Defense, so this is a governmental blurb saying that anything I say is not in direct reflection of them, the government, or anyone else besides me. This is my thoughts, perceptions, talks, feelings, whatever comes out. So they cannot be held responsible for anything I say or do at this conference. Pretty standard governmental stuff, yeah. Okay, sorry. A bit about me. I got my bachelor's from a little college in Kansas called Fort Hays State. They're one of the NIST and government approved and accredited cybersecurity institutes in the country. My master's I got from a small university in New York called Utica. They're also fall under that same category as Fort Hays, where they're accredited by the cybersecurity stuffs with the government. And then I got my doctorate, excuse me, from Capella University. And they also fall under that same glorious cybersecurity accreditation from the government as well. I hold a couple different certifications, industrial certifications, ITIL, CISP, CASP, SEC, so on and so forth, yada, yada, yada. I've worked quite a few different jobs that are IT related. My first job, which was fun, but the crappiest of all, was I was a industrial control engineer at a public works, which meant I took care of all the ICSs that were in the sewer and wastewater plant. So it was good times had by everyone but me. I then transferred to a desktop position at a regional human resources activity. That was followed by a 4-year tour at the Midwest NEC under NETCOM at Fort Riley, where I served as a incident response team leader, vulnerability team leader, and the deputy ISM for Fort Riley. I am currently the ISM for the Department of Defense activity at the FBI Criminal Justice Information Services compound here in West Virginia. I have 2 publications out there in the world. The first one is my latest one, and that's the Cyber Incident Responders Perception of Sharing CTI. That was a study that I conducted from 2019 till 2021. And then my first one was Cyber Conflict, the Ukrainian Practice Field from 2017. That's a bit about me, but you know, all in all, that and $2.50 will get you a soda anywhere in the state. I mean, we're all quite intelligent folks and do our thing on a daily basis. So moving on. So these are my definitions here of what we'll talk about. We got cyber threat intelligence and 2 different definitions for that. The first one is sharing of evidence-based knowledge about an extent or emerging threat that can be used by the receiving entity to make informed decisions. The second one is evidence-based, including context, mechanism, indicator, implications, so on and so forth. You guys can read those. It's the same, but stated different. So cyber threat intelligence is basically anything that you can put together on your APT or whomever is out there trying to do bad, nefarious things to you. And how you can ingest, decipher, and then in turn use that information to protect yourself, your infrastructures, whatnot. Okay, like I said, in 2019, I started the study, and I wanted to know how other cyber incident responders' perceptions was with sharing CTIs or CTI. The risk and barriers that they either face actual or perceptually, value and advantages of sharing, and legal guidance of sharing this CTI. This splash talk is a brief summary of the results of this study. And then there's a few questions built in that, I'll kind of ask you guys for a little input during this because nobody wants to listen to me for 20 minutes. My initial research question for the study was, it's right there, what barriers are perceived or unperceived? And it was all with the private sector in the United States. Okay, here's my participant breakout. I had 11 total that actually met all the qualifications out of about 200 that initially applied to be a part of the study. This is their age, gender. Unfortunately, there was no females that even applied to be a part of the study. So this is very, I don't want to say compartmentalized, but it's only one side of the coin. Their position at their company, organization, whatever that they work at currently, or at the time of the study, if they had any managerial duties, total experience as a cyber incident responder, and their experience with sharing CTI, either internal, external, with themselves, smoke signals, whatever, however. You'll notice these 6 yellow dots on here. During the data consolidation and reporting of the study, those 6 folks were the only 6 that were willing and currently actually did share CTI with other incident responders, organizations, so on and so forth. So, initial question is why were these 6 the only ones that would share? Any thoughts on that? Experience was one part. Yep, I noticed that. Good advertising. Yeah. Yeah, they. Willing to share knowledge because of their age. Look at their ages. Everyone is above the age of 42 that was willing to share. Believe that. 42 was the magic number here. Anyone below 41 or below did not want to talk to anybody else about anything that was going on in their organization. One guy flat out told me, I will not allow my people to say anything to anyone outside of this organization, regardless if it would hurt them or not. The one fella here, where was he? The one that's 52, the regional director of cyber incident response, number 5. He, during the course of this, flat out told me that he would share anything with anybody at any time. He didn't care as long as it kept him and the people that he's sharing with from getting, hacked or, their infrastructure broken, crushed, whatever. He didn't care. He said, there's not an NDA out there that states I cannot share stuff that's not trade related or, what's the word I'm looking for? Trade secrets for that company. He said all the NDAs he's ever read was trade secrets. You can't trade secrets with your competitors, but it didn't say nothing about sharing threat intelligence that would keep them from going under too. Okay. And here we go. That was just what we were talking about. The distinct generational separation of the participants that were willing to share. The youngest participant was 31, the eldest was 52, and the line was at 42. All right. So then while we're, excuse me, why are the younger participants unwilling to share for the good of the community? Okay. Right. Right. And then there was somebody else right here. That's a good one because we're going to get into that part here in a little bit. Yours is also good as well. There was a lot of it where the folks would say, we get all this stuff in, and we don't have anybody that can analyze it to decide what's crap, garbage, good, or whatever. So we just compile and stockade everything we have. We're not sharing nothing because we don't know, and we don't want to give somebody information that will destroy them from bad information from us. Okay. And then during this, there was also a geographical distinction of sharing. So granted, I didn't have somebody from every state because you saw all 11. So I broke it down regional-like. I had a southeast, a southwest, a south central, a northwest, northeast, north central. So that distinct yellow line, anyone above that yellow line in those regions, we're willing to share. Anyone below, we're unwilling to share. So then, now the question is, why is the north and east more likely to share than the south and the west? And I've thought about this one quite a bit over the past year or so. The south and west I get, because that's where, Silicon Valley, all that stuff is. Nobody wants to share nothing. I'm not, Apple's not telling Microsoft anything. If it's going to, break a system, break a whatever, they're not talking. Okay. Also found out just from, poking around and doing nerdy stuff, reading, that a lot of the younger IT cyber professionals think that the gold mines in California, Oregon, Washington. So they all flock to the south and the east, or the south and west, I'm sorry. Yeah, in Austin. So yeah, there you go. Yeah. The old heads like me with a little gray, we like to go east where it's, comfy. We get, cushy jobs that east of the Mississippi where we can, do great and glorious things. And don't get paid as much, don't get me wrong, but, there's a little more, some work for job security east of the Mississippi. That's volatile for sure. Yep. Okay. Now, during the study, there was a bunch of keywords that, triggered some thoughts in my mind while we were discussing CTI and sharing. Mistrust, that was the big one. If you're giving me anything, how do I know you're not lying to me to put me, 3, 6, a year, 18 months behind? Standardization and singular platform, standardization of the data ingested and exported from the platforms, there was zero standardization for any of them. None of the platforms could intercommunicate with each other. So if you bought a subscription to XYZ platform to get your CTI, that was the only one you could get. And then you're relying on them to be 100% accurate, timely with everything they gave you. Lack of incentives. This came from the Southwest folks. There was no incentive to share. So why am I going to share and spend the cycles to, get this data out when I'm not getting compensated for it? Effort. Too much effort in ingesting and analyzing and then pushing it back out. False barriers was a big one that everyone saw, was that their higher ups would tell them, yeah, you can, but everything's got to go through, the CEO, CIO, all this stuff. And then when they finally get it to them, they scrub it to where it was basically just their name and their salutation at the end of the report. Non-disclosure agreements. The South and the West folks commented on non-disclosure, meaning that they couldn't tell anything that went on at their work, regardless. Not just trade secrets, but anything. Again, accuracy of the data I'm receiving, accuracy of the data I'm pushing out. Timeliness was a big factor. So 0 day or APT 18's doing this now. Who's to say in 3 hours they're not flipping and doing something else? So timeliness was a big factor as well. Malicious actor, in the sense of if I'm subscribed to this CTI sharing platform, how do I know the folks on the other end are not malicious actors ingesting a bunch of garbage to keep me occupied analyzing, whatever that's not true, and they're doing something completely different. Present resources is in the resources that they have in their organization to decipher, ingest, analyze, and export. And then the act of sharing is not cost efficient was a keyword from the South and the West, but I didn't understand that one as much as the rest because the cost effectiveness of sending an email really isn't that much. So I put it on there just because. So now, again, a question to the group: do these keywords create any concerns for you as a cyber professional? Mm. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, resources, everybody's struggling for resources. I mean, there's not, I don't want to say there's not a day, but there's not many days during the week where I'm at work and I'm not, concerned about, resources to do something, either funding or personnel or general knowledge of the folks, So, any other thoughts on the keywords?
Kind of presents the idea that IT is more of a sort of a group data, think tank ideas come together, creates more idea of like isolation if everyone's doing their own. As you said, which kind of paints area pictures like team is shared their intelligence, bump out more like another heads like hardware tricks, things that are not come as part of the world isolation.
Right.
And then basically no ideas of really things.
Right.
Beyond basic things.
Yep. All right, so we're almost to the end, so you guys can stop listening to me. All right, so now my questions to the community here is, are you willing to share actionable CTI that does not violate non-disclosure agreements or give away trade secrets? So a touchy one. I mean, generally, like I said earlier, I work for the Gov, and as long as I'm not giving away something that's not in that NDA, I will share anything with you at any time. Because I can just pull that up and be like, it wasn't in here. You better fix this shit if you don't want me to tell anybody. Sorry. Next, do you see any barriers at your current position that would affect your ability to share CTI? I know at my last one, there was a huge barrier. He was like 2 of me, and you couldn't talk to people down the hall about stuff, let alone outside of the organization. So, and then would you be willing to share actionable CTI with your competitors for the good of the community and the advancement of your trade? Right? So if I work at Keebler Cookie Company and we're getting, actual actionable CTI, would I tell Chips Ahoy and Nabisco and all them, hey, this is what we're seeing. I'm not giving you the recipe for, soft bake or soft batch or whatever the cookies are. You might want to look out for this. Possible? Don't know. And then if not, then why wouldn't I? What do I see that would stop me from sharing? These are like internal thought questions. And then finally, what are the perceptions of the community in West by God of sharing CTI? Is people in this state more likely to share than not likely to share? I know during my study I had 2 participants, and both of them were like, oh, hell yeah, I will do it in a heartbeat. So I don't know if, there's that yellow line like I showed you before. Is there a spot in the state where, closer to Charleston we don't or do? Closer to Morgantown we don't or we do? I don't know. I have no clue. So then moving on. All right, see, I told you we're at the end. All right, thank you guys for your kindness during this presentation. I'm also considering a follow-on study focused on the Appalachian area, so I'm thinking Tennessee up to the border of Pennsylvania because they don't count. And then maybe we'll carve out some of Maryland, Virginia-ish and go from there. Huh? Ish. Yeah. Yeah. Come out. Yeah. See, with government, it gets murky because you got to get all kinds of approvals from everybody that has a star on their chest, and then they go back to we can't tell nobody nothing. So, Well, I mean, that's a start. What? People are paying attention now. It's amazing because I got laughed at in 2017 when I was like, hey, people are using the Ukraine to do bad stuff. And then, yeah. And then like a year later, the same people that were playing in Ukraine decided to hit a nuclear plant in Kansas called Wolf Creek using the exact same stuff, but everybody blew it off. And I was, whatever. But anyhow, there's my contact info stuff. If you guys want to get in contact with me and say, hey, yeah, I'll be interested in doing some stuff if you ever, want to consider doing another study and putting in one of those neat little tech magazines somewhere that people read and do great and glorious things with. But other than that, again, thank you for your attention and hospitality. You guys rock. Have fun at the rest of the conference. Learn great things. Talk with your folks. Make some friends. And that's it for me. Anybody got any questions, comments, concerns? Want to punch me? You do. I know you do. You know the breakdown of how many of them are publicly traded versus private? All were public traded. Mm-hmm. Yep. That fell under the blanket of not, there's other groupings in there, but it was a financial one, and that fell under there was the cost of their stock and public traded if something did happen. So those folks, the ones that mentioned that, said they wouldn't tell anybody anything because it would hurt their stock and then they would get fired. So. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that was their thing. We're not telling nobody nothing. I'm not even telling my boss because I don't want to get fired. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, that's it. Again, thank you guys for your attention, and have a great day.
This talk was a part of our 2022 Secure West Virginia Lucky 13 conference. If you would like more information about this talk or our speaker, check the description below. And if you enjoyed the content, consider liking and sharing this video. For more information on Secure West Virginia, or you want to stay updated with the latest upcoming events, follow us on Twitter at SecureWVCon or visit our website securewv.org. We would also like to thank our 2022 sponsors for being a huge part of Lucky 13's success.